JPMorgan Chase is paying $290 million to Epstein victims in a lawsuit. Colleen Ballinger, better known as Miranda Sings, is being accused of grooming children, and once again, academia is trying to erase women. Welcome back to Do You Really Mean That? My name is Olivia. I'm one of your co-hosts, and I'm joined today, of course, by my other co-host, Chris.
Hi, everyone. How are you doing today?
And our producer, Derek.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
So we're going to go ahead and jump right into the story. But before we do, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit up our Patreon as well for weekly exclusive content that you will only find there and nowhere else. So we're going to go ahead and start talking about how JPMorgan Chase is to pay $290 million, dollars in a lawsuit from Jeffrey Epstein victims. We have it from the New York Post.
And honestly, let's be realistic. That $900 million settlement should probably be more than that even. 290. It's an amazing settlement, but the number of victims that were wrapped up in it, I don't think it's nearly enough at that point. But I don't control it. So we have this article here from the New York Post where they're talking about JPMorgan Chase has agreed to pay $290 million to settle a lawsuit over the bank's ties to Jeffrey Epstein. According to lawyers for Epstein's victims, a deal comes shortly after top executives were questioned over the scandal. The lawsuit, which claimed the banking giant helped facilitate the dead pedophile's sex trafficking ring, was filed in Manhattan federal court in November and on behalf of the anonymous victim Jane Doe and other unnamed Epstein accusers over the course of a 15-year period. My God, 15 years.
15 years. I'm only 10 years older than that. That's crazy to me. I was 10, and that's the time I look at. That's a long time.
Yeah.
That's such a long time.
Guess what, Olivia? You were 10. That could have been you.
I just said I was 10, and then I was like, oof, that is not what I want to say. Yeah.
You're of that age.
Yeah, I'm so glad that I lived where I lived when all of that was occurring, because Derek was also a child at that point.
Yeah, but I wasn't part of the demographic that they would have wanted, so I think that's all on you, Olivia.
Trafficking is trafficking. They didn't discriminate too much, so they had a preference, but they.
You were a pretty little boy, so
No, he wasn't. He was actually a really ugly kid. I'm sorry, that's really mean, but it's really true, and he'll admit that too.
So there was a period of time where I was an ugly duckling for about 4 years, but when I was young, I was a cute kid, and then now,
you're still not one.
Well, so continuing on with the article, it says the suit claimed JPMorgan knowingly ignored red flags about Epstein until 2013, and profited from his sex trafficking venture as he brought other wealthy clients he brought them to the bank. So they didn't care because, of course, it's all about money, all about the economy. The deal was reached 3 weeks after JPMorgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon's 2-day deposition, which he reportedly maintained that he had never had any dealings with Epstein and didn't know the sex offender was on the client list until his arrest in 2019. I find that very hard to believe when you are as wealthy as Epstein was.
Well, yeah. He was known as a huge investor. Of course, JPMorgan would know exactly who he is. But what's curious to me is how did they find that these financial ties actually existed?
Right. So you're saying you had no idea, but suddenly we have financial ties that exist. So, who has a client list that we don't have? And that's the real question. Now, this story, I do care about it. I care more about the client list. Someone has it, and someone's sharing it with people, but no one's leaking it.
Yeah.
State secrets, whatever. I don't care at this point. Leak the client list. Someone needs to do that. I am not saying I have it because I don't. And if I did, it would have been leaked a long time ago. But where's his list? Where is it? Where's the official list of everybody? And no one cares. Now, I think it's important to note, of course, like Chris was saying earlier, we do have these victims who are getting money. but you're not getting every victim, and you're also not paying them enough for what they went through. I mean, the amount of emotional and mental and sexual abuse that these people went through is astonishing.
I'm not broken up the whole ring of, everyone that was trafficked, that's the scary part. Epstein's gone and Elaine's in jail, but I'm sure there's still people that are part of that network that are out there still carrying on doing what they're doing. They just get to profit for themselves now. So
it breaks my heart.
That's why the list needs to be out there. Who's paying for this stuff? And
who's involved?
And I get it. Powerful people, they don't want to see that. They're the elites. They don't want it out there. But at some point, this needs to happen. But I'm going to continue on with the article here because there's some interesting thing further on. The settlement comes less than 2 weeks after Diamond was floated as a possible candidate for the 2024 presidential race. Isn't that weird?
Republican or Democrat?
I have no idea, but I got to imagine
that's
it's a rich
interesting
guy.
To know which party.
Yeah,
you can find that. Anyone.
While we're talking, go ahead and find that information for us because that is an interesting question. I got to imagine Republican, but
it could be I'm just thinking about the people he's been tied up with, and he's involved with both parties. Talking about Epstein, right? He was involved with both parties, but he's financial. But we know a lot of these elites that say that they're in these fields and stuff, and like they say they're Democrats because they want the money, right? Yeah. It's all about the money. So like, regardless if they actually are more conservative leaning, they're Democrats.
But the mega bank quashed any speculation last week, saying in a statement that he is very happy in his current role and has no plans to run for office. Well, you don't start paying hush money unless you're trying to clean up your record.
Yeah, Bloomberg said he didn't have any plans either. So, just saying.
That kind of makes me believe that it'd be on the Democrat side of things. I mean, they're always throwing names out there of, hey, this person should run. This person should run. If I hear one more time Michelle Obama should run, I'm going to flip out because she has made it very clear she has no intention of running for office. So
it is both.
It is both.
So he would
rhinos,
just pick a party and go with
rhinos. It's rhinos and Democrats. So.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, I assume that he would not want to challenge a sitting president, and that's the only reason he'd run as Republican, if anything.
But I don't think he wants to jump in the ring with our current lineup either. So.
Yeah, I don't blame him. I wouldn't want to either.
That cost him too much money to try to be the loudest voice in the room. It just won't work.
Bloomberg tried it and it didn't work out. So.
No, he spent a whole fuck ton of money. And
to get nowhere, barely on the debate stage, and talked for maybe 2 minutes total. So,
continuing on, Monday, JPMorgan and Epstein's victims' lawyers jointly said that the two parties had reached an agreement in principle to settle, that it is in the best interest of all parties, especially the survivors who are the victims. I like calling them survivors. I don't like calling them victims.
I feel like it's more uplifting to them, and like I'm not one to always be like, let's be selective with our language. But it's one of those things where it's like when you go through some abuse like that, being called a survivor is much more empowering than being called a victim.
And then here's my favorite line: "Any association with him was a mistake, and we regret it." Really?
You just said you didn't have any association.
Really? You regret it? That's amazing. Kudos, right? I'm happy for you.
Cool. I'm sure those girls regret showing up that day. I'm sure they do, but it doesn't make anything better or worse. Everyone has regrets, but my God, if that's your legal excuse for that, you're full of shit, and so is your entire company.
Yeah, that tells me, one, the settlement we're near enough because it didn't hurt.
Yeah.
If it had hurt them financially, yeah, they would say something more on the line of, we understand that this in no way makes up for what these victims, these survivors suffered, but because of our association, this was necessary. At least bring the onus back on themselves. Hey, I don't care if you're saying we didn't realize the extent of his crimes. I don't care if you're saying that it was only a loose association with him. At least bring it back and say, okay, we fucked up.
Exactly. Admit it, move on. I mean, they get to move on too a little bit. I mean, it helps them. Why don't you help? I don't know. Maybe you should put money, like you have the CEO, if I were the CEO and I wanted to save face, and I would do this regardless because I'm not, a bad person, but obviously the CEO isn't involved with the best of people. Donate to sexual abuse foundations. Donate to just generally like domestic abuse foundations. Donate to help stop child sex trafficking. Do that. If you really care and you really feel regretful, help with the problem. You have the money to do it. Do it. That's all it is.
Tell your clients not to purchase people anymore.
Yeah, I thought we were supposed to not be doing that.
One more interesting thing about Jamie Dimon is he's also a Federal Reserve chairman. He's like one of the, pretty sure he's a voting member for the Federal Reserve. So
I feel like they shouldn't be allowed to if they
own another fun fact. Yeah. So.
Well, good. That's great. You know what? When I was in DC, I purposefully flipped off the Federal Reserve, so y'all are welcome for that. I did it on behalf of everybody that hates them, so y'all are welcome. I did that on purpose, so I'm just gonna take that as my cue to not get into my anti-Federal Reserve rant right now, because that's.
I realize this doesn't necessarily work for you, but I mean, I personally would have just pissed on the side of the building.
Yeah, I mean, I probably could have, but it was also like they had like a leak or something or whatever, and so it was all like walled around, and like they had like some kind of ventilation. So something happened, like there must have been like a water leak or something. So I couldn't, but I did flip it off, and it felt really good considering that's the only thing I really could do in that situation. So
yeah. Again, crazy story, and I'm glad something happened. It's in no way nearly enough, but something is better than nothing. So, anything else to add, Olivia?
I think that's all I have to say, because I could go on a rant, but it's not worth it. It's not, like, for this topic. I'm going to save my anger for the next one. Colleen Ballinger, better known as Miranda Sings, is a 36-year-old YouTube star who has now been accused of grooming and bullying her underage fans. Now, I will say, when this drama first started about 3 years ago in 2020, we're going to be talking about a fan specifically named Adam McIntyre to begin. He posted a video 3 years ago about how Colleen had done some really messed up stuff. He deleted it after severe pushback from her stans, as they call them. And he re-released it. 3 years later, he re-recorded it. It's about a 2-hour video, so we're not going to go into that right now. If you're interested in this topic, I highly encourage that you go look into it. But she is 36 now, so keeping that in mind. And I think Adam is 20 now. I want to say he's 20. So she... Obviously, if you don't remember Miranda Sings, she played this kind of obnoxious, stupid, gross character who was makeup all over her face. She'd wear these, high-waisted pants, dorky, stupid. I don't know how else to describe it, but it was, a caricature of a dorky person in a bad way. Kind of like the stereotypical dork, right?
Yeah, when you brought this article up, I actually had to go find some sort of images. Yeah. I don't know who this person is. Until I started reading these articles, and I'm like, oh, I get this now, because my niece grew up, and that was one of the things. That was
someone she liked, yeah. And Colleen has branched out into new content over time, but she started with Miranda Sings. So the allegations first arose in 2020 when Adam McIntyre, a former fan, released a shocking video on YouTube. In the video, McIntyre calls out Ballinger's behavior, describing the inappropriate and toxic relationship he had with the then 30-year-old. Although the video was released 2 years ago, Adam McIntyre was initially met with backlash. More information has come to light as he posted again on June 8th, exposing inappropriate conversations Ballinger allegedly had with minors and how she seemingly manipulated and bullied fans into doing free labor. This came up multiple times. He would help do producer stuff on the side, or find information for videos, or come up with jokes or whatever it might be.
Let me ask this question. How many times does this sort of thing need to happen before the person coming forward doesn't receive backlash immediately and get downvoted into obscurity? I mean, I realize I grew up at a different time, and there was, Michael Jackson, that controversy with him. This went on for decades.
And I think with the advent of social media, it's so much easier to share this information now, and I think more people need to be clued in, which is why we're talking about it too. The more people that talk about it and give this story like legs to stand on, we're able to then like help grow this for the pushback. So continuing on here, he said that in a group chat with McIntyre and Ballinger that were like both part of it, but there were other people. Ballinger asked for an ass photo, asking females to describe their first period and making fun of a fan who got a tattoo in her honor. And then let's see, supposedly the people in the chats were aged 14 to 16 at the time, but this did not stop Ballinger from commenting on their appearance, encouraging bullying, and asking inappropriate questions, such as when they lost their virginity. Other accusations have been made against the YouTuber, including inviting McIntyre to visit Ballinger in Dublin, where she ultimately left him alone after repeatedly giving incorrect instructions as to where to go. McIntyre also states that Ballinger seemed annoyed when she found out his parents would be accompanying him. I felt abandoned in a city I did not know. McIntyre said he was 14 at the time. So I want to, let me see if I can scroll down here and find some of the things.
I'm already scrolling here because, wow.
I do have another, let's click on this next article from the Sun, Derek, if we can do that. Because this one, this shows Miranda sings as an event for Nickelodeon, because she had a show on Nickelodeon for some time. I remember when that came out, it was like a big thing. And so scrolling down, he had stayed quiet on social media as the accusations were posted again last week. So again, reiterating like this happened. He already tried to come out and talk about this. He got bullied into obscurity. He's back now, which is great. I'm so happy that he's back now. He's Irish, so that's why she was trying to like say we should meet up in Dublin and stuff. He was 13, or a fan since he was 13. And allegations first arose in 2020 when McIntyre released a video asking Ballinger to stop lying about her behavior. She sent him a lingerie set, which we talked about this briefly in our pre-show. But she allegedly went through a haul from a company and had lingerie in it and was giving it to fans and sent it to a 15-year-old boy in Dublin or in Ireland. And she addressed the video at the time saying, addressing everything in the situation, context is everything. I was giving away clothes that I had just bought and were brand new. I did not want them, she said. In the box was a really ugly pair of underwear. People started asking for them in the live stream. Then this boy who made the video asked me for them. And then she said that when she heard about the allegations, she was very shocked and confused. I expressed I didn't know what they were talking about. And I also expressed my frustration that they were trying to bring my son's name into their drama. Again, leave people's kids out of this, but like, don't deflect.
She sent a 15-year-old boy. Granted, they were new, not worn. I get that.
But it doesn't matter. That's weird.
She sent a 15-year-old boy women's underwear.
Mm-hmm. That she had opened and shown in a live stream.
My God, what the fuck is wrong with people? Sorry, guys. This show is not family friendly at the moment. And I'm probably gonna have a couple more outbursts the more I read about this. But let's backtrack a bit, Olivia. So she was bullying the kids, that were helping her with whatever she was doing. Mm-hmm. You said, what was it? She was talking to the young girls, asking them to talk about their first period. First off, that's not normal, is it? I mean, you as an adult female wouldn't go around asking 12 to 15-year-old girls, "Hey, let's talk about your first period," or "When did you lose your
boys?" Or I wouldn't talk to anybody about stuff like that. That's weird, and that's a very vulnerable thing for girls to talk about. I'll talk about it because I'm like whatever. I'm 25 now, but
I'm sure it was.
I do want to also add, just to make sure we understand the context here, that she called her fans Colleen's weenies.
Oh my God.
Yeah, kind of gross. So, okay. Again, this is going to make me really mad, and so I'm trying not to give too much because I want people to look into it for themselves too, but
Wow.
So we're going to go ahead and move on to these tweets. This one tweet that I found of someone who kind of posts this kind of content. Again, I'm not normally involved in these kind of spaces, so it's just different pictures of things that she posted on the Miranda Sings channel. If you go to this first photo, one of the videos was titled "How to Ride a Child."
No.
Yeah, and then you can see the one under that. I'm a PDF file. Apparently is what it. I'm going to thank Mary Morgan from PCC for that one because that's a great one to use to keep it safe for YouTube. But apparently that was a title of a video. The next photo says, "Googling myself goes terribly wrong." And you can see the image on there
Oh my God.
that she uses in the thumbnail.
Why? Why would you do that?
Oh, it gets better. You go to the next one. Trigger warning. Obviously, that's what they put in this. I'm just reading it. Colleen Ballinger bringing the child on stage to act out giving birth. Colleen pretending to be Miranda's uncle in this segment is saying that she likes little girls, making a PDF file comment. Then Colleen says a little girl smells fertile and gets between her legs. We're not going to play this video because, oh my gosh,
No, please do not.
I don't want this on our channel. And then the next one is the very last photo they post is the sexualization of minors and grooming them. And there's different chats of the her asking, "What's your fave position?" Let's see, what else did you say? "Adam, you need questions for your Q&A." So like clearly saying specific things to specific people. So saying hi to Adam, that kind of stuff. Again, these aren't the first instances of her doing these things. There's a video kind of going semi-viral right now of her on stage with a young boy who I believe was 8 to 10. And she always had this joke. It's like ongoing gag on her channel about having cheese balls like stored in her pants because they were like overly sized pants. It was like a gag, running gag. And yeah, she brings a fan on stage, pretends to be on a date with them, and was like, "I always bring a snack," and then offered him to grab one from her. Not grab one and give it to him. She offered for him to grab one from her. Now, there's nothing funny about that. I don't know what's so comedic about that. That's the thing. It's like comedy is usually pretty like subjective, person to person, whatever. This just isn't funny. This just isn't okay. This is wrong. If we're going to talk about grooming minors, we're going to talk about it in every sphere.
Yeah.
Colleen Ballinger, I wouldn't even say is an accused groomer. She groomed people.
You know, the story was bad enough when we're talking about teenagers in this. Then it got worse the younger they got. And like, at what point does this stop? At what point?
Where are the parents?
Yeah, who is? I mean, because obviously this information, these videos were available. But they're on her damn page. You know, here they are, plain as day.
Yeah.
How do you let your kids be there when you see these things yourself?
The parents are the ones recording. It's just like when you see these parents at these other events recording sexualized things with children there or the children involved. I mean, it's disgusting that we live in a society where someone can pass this off as comedy and decide, "Oh, okay, so we're just going to say it's a joke, so it's a joke." No, some things aren't funny, Colleen. Okay? Some things aren't funny.
I mean, I get it. In the conservative spaces, you know, everyone's saying, "Oh, those darn liberals, they're always upset you can't make jokes." No, making jokes is fine. There are jokes that can be made. This is not a joke.
And
this is not funny.
This is something where even people who used to be fans of her, people that are left-leaning, the Twitter account we pulled up is a left-leaning, non-binary person or trans person or something. I mean, like, this doesn't just exclusively go on party lines here. This is a group of people saying, "Oh, this person is grooming someone and we need to cancel that. I'm not usually in favor of canceling someone, but I will 1,000% cancel anybody who grooms, manipulates, sexualizes, or abuses children."
Well, I would say let's cancel, but at the same time, let's make sure the canceling happens after justice is served.
Well, I think that's part of the canceling process, right? Like getting her charges brought. And then, I mean, this person has kids. Colleen has children. And that scares me. And so that's, we need to have her, I think that's, again, part of the canceling once the trial is over, by but having that process of canceling somebody, that's part of it, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what to recommend for those kids, but get them the hell away from her.
It's just sad. The whole thing is sad and disheartening. And again, if you guys want more information, look at Adam McIntyre's video. It's 2 hours, so you don't have to watch it all at once, but I'd really recommend it. I watched the first one. I haven't watched the second one yet, but I did watch his original one. And I just remember being absolutely disgusted by it. This was like during COVID, height of COVID. And so I had all the time in the world. And I just remember sitting there just like, this is someone that people used to look up to. So I'm hoping people that have been associated with her will disavour. I haven't been too involved in who's talked about it. I've seen commentators, but I haven't seen YouTubers yet. I'm really hoping some of these bigger names that used to associate with her will start to. I hope Nickelodeon makes a statement about it. I hope that.
I did see Brett Cooper did a video on that.
Well, yeah, she's a commentator. That's, like I've seen commentators. I haven't seen YouTubers in the sense of like people that were on YouTube and making videos when she was like popular people at the time. Like people that she would hang out with. I haven't seen anything. Looking at you and someone she hangs out with. This is another example that's weird. JoJo Siwa, who is, I think she's now 19 or 20, but she was friends with Colleen growing up when she was a minor. I think she should share her experience, regardless positive or negative. I think she needs to talk about things that may have happened that we didn't see, because that's also a weird relationship, and no one's talking about the fact that when JoJo Siwa was JoJo with the bows, not the way she is now, but the way she used to be, she and Colleen hung out quite often, and I think that needs to be talked about more too. So that's something I think people should try to,
You're saying like little girls.
And pretending to be an uncle, do you know how many people have actually gone through that stereotype? Yes. I know it's a stereotype, but do you know why it's a stereotype? Because it happened a lot more than people think. And
far too often.
Someone could have been in the room that was molested, assaulted by their uncle, and to make those jokes as saying I'm an uncle, oh, I like little girls. How do you think those victims feel? Like it's so defeating.
There are jokes, and then there are warrant messages. I think we all know which one these are belonging.
I agree. We're gonna wrap up this topic because getting a little heated over here, and I don't want to start screaming at my camera. Johns Hopkins University has removed definitions from their DEI Department Gender and Sexuality resources after backlash for their definition on the word lesbian. It says lesbian, sexual orientation, a non-man attracted to non-men. While past definitions refer to lesbian as a woman who is attracted romantically, emotionally, and or sexually to other women, this updated definition includes non-binary people who may also identify with the label. But of course, when you go to gay man, what does it say? A man who is emotionally, romantically, sexually, affectionately, or romantically attracted to a man. Gay can be used regardless of gender. So the erasure of women is something that no one talks about, and it's incredibly real. When you have people in academia trying to erase the existence of women by saying lesbians are not women attracted to women, they're non-men attracted to non-men, you take away the very foundation of the meaning of every single word that we use. You can't say, I don't walk up to people and say I'm a non-man. I'm a woman, okay? And I'm straight, but if I wasn't, and I was a woman into woman, I would say I'm a lesbian. I wouldn't say I'm a non-man attracted to a non-man. The erasure of women in society is being perpetrated by academia, and it's being pushed by super leftist organizations as well. And I'm so sick of seeing the erasure of women in all aspects. But once you get into academia, we have a problem. Academia needs to totally be overthrown and redone.
So I have a hot take theory for you, Olivia.
Oh no.
So we talk about this, and after the female definition left the men definition alone. This is actually a good thing, by the way, because they're winning the game for us. All the gender ideology stuff says I really feel like I'm a woman. I really feel like I'm a man. However, identify. what this tells me is it's the trans women who were formerly men and still are technically biologically men. We know that in terms of agreeableness and willing to be assertive, that is a male dominant trait. So they're in your space right now, Olivia. They're speaking up. They're saying, we want this, we want that. So guess what? You just told me that this is done for those people that identify in that space. Well, clearly you're not a woman if this is how your behavior is. Because if it was an actual behavior that, justified this in their minds, they would have done it for both definitions.
Yeah, and the thing is, they're kind of saying the quiet part out loud here, which they always try to say, we're not doing this. We're not erasing women. And then they do that exact thing, which I think is so funny. And of course, they go back and they remove it from their glossary, but, screenshots exist, guys. So, of course, we can still see it. And it's just it's so degrading. And, I don't understand why it's an attack on, they're letting the patriarchy win, is what I'm trying to say. They're saying, the patriarchy, down with the patriarchy, we should have a matriarchy. Okay, that's cool, but when you use language like men and non-men, oh, well, what? It's a man's world then, right? Because that's what you're saying, is men and non-men. Well, then it's still a man's world. You're still promoting the patriarchy. You're making it to the point where women just don't exist to you. Even lesbians can't be women now. Where do they draw a line?
Well,
they will draw a line at the farthest point.
To be fair, Olivia, God took one of Adam's ribs to fashion women. I'm sorry. I'm not a religious person. We've discussed this.
Yes, but that means that a woman is a part of human life, and a woman is a part of a man in a way that a man cannot, because he literally had to remove part of himself to create a better half. Yes. And I think that is a beautiful thing, and to erase that is disgusting, it's vile, it's wrong, and I think that academia needs to get their act together, or this country's screwed.
And I said this in my last show, women are special. You can create a whole person. All right, milkshake singer Ellis addresses rumors on Bill Murray. This isn't what you would normally expect from us to talk about, but I found this whole story to be just mind-boggling. The performing artist has been reportedly seeing Bill Murray. She's 40, he's 72, and people apparently have a problem. They think because we're fans, we have some sort of say in your livelihood. Olivia, do you want your fans to say who you can eventually date and marry?
I would never allow that to happen, because my life is my life. And if they have criticism, that's their problem. It's like these crazy ass Taylor Swift fans that are like, she can't date Maddie Healy. They broke up, but besides the point, she can't date Maddie Healy. No, she can date whoever she wants to. You should be more concerned about their happiness than your own, reasons for not liking somebody.
But that's why I wanted this story, because people, I get it, especially with social media, we're invited into their world.
Yes.
And we get to interact with them in ways that was never before a thing. So
I agree.
So that naturally makes it feel like, we get to have an opinion, that we have this special relationship, and there is a special relationship. There's a bond, that you have with your fans, you have with the people that you look up to. I get that, but that doesn't mean you get to dictate my life.
Right, exactly, and they're people like everyone else. Stop treating them like they're not. Stop treating them like you have control. They're not your child. You're not their child. This does not affect your life whatsoever in any capacity. And you don't like somebody, that's fine, but you can't just say that person's not allowed to date anybody you like now. Oh, I don't like Maddie Healy. I personally don't mind. I don't have an opinion on Maddie Healy, but I know more about this issue than this other one. So just saying, people saying, I don't like Maddie Healy, so he can't date any of the singers that I like, especially Taylor Swift. Literally, shut up. Maddie Healy and Taylor Swift can date whoever they want, including each other if they really want to. And if that's a problem for you, you need to reevaluate the important things in your life and maybe put some focus somewhere more personal, like family, friends, touching grass, those kinds of things.
See, that's what irritated me most about that open letter to Taylor Swift that the fans sent in. First off, let's be real. Taylor Swift today could say, I am never going to record another song. I'm never going to go on tour ever again. And she's going to be just fine.
Exactly.
She can walk away from every one of her fans and be just fine.
Exactly. And they think that, and of course Taylor Swift loves her fans. Of course she appreciates her fans. But if tomorrow every one of those fans that cared that much decided they were going to pull their support, she would be totally fine doing her own thing with, her life. She has no problem doing that. One, she can afford it. And two, she's made such an amazing career that there's people who don't care that are fans of her, like me. There's tons of people like that don't care and would still, be fans of her music regardless. I mean, unless she's dating someone who's like a mass murderer, I really don't care.
To continue the story, because there were quotes in here that stood out to me, and I'm thinking, good for you. Good for you. You addressed it without addressing it, and that was amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and say this. The performing artist did not confirm or deny the gossip that has been circulating for a few weeks now, other than to say on social media that she and Murray are both happy. Yeah, maybe for now everyone's dumb and we will believe anything. Here's a quote that was on a comment. Maybe for now everyone's dumb and won't believe anything, but the best part is we are both blessed, rich, and happy. A fan also commented, "Ma'am, would you care to address the Bill Murray allegations? Because damn, what he doing with all that?" After the singer posted a bikini photo on Instagram, vacationing with Murray.
So frustrating. I don't have the energy to care. I have so much other things going on in my life to care about than who, what singer, actor, whoever is dating at the time. Do what you want with your life. Like, I don't understand these people who are so wrapped up in it and they get so viscerally angry about it that they like have these reactions and it's just so frustrating.
Lol, no, babe, I wouldn't bother at all. She shut it down immediately because it is nobody's business but hers and Bill's. If it's a thing, do I want to see either of these people happy? Sure.
Does it change my life? No.
I don't care who they find that happiness with. I don't have an issue with that. They're both wealthy. They're both happy. Let them do what they want.
The White House held a Pride event just this last weekend and invited tons of people who would be called influencers in the LGBTQ plus community, including a trans model and TikToker named Rose Montoya, who went to celebrate Pride at the White House with Joe Biden and former trans kid Jazz Jennings. We go to this article from the Post Millennial here, where you see a very disturbing photo of Rose Montoya covering their fake breasts, but they clearly were topless at this event at the White House. The White House. The White House, okay? I cannot stress this enough. She also posted a selfie with our president.
Yeah, hold on a second, though. I want to say this. I had forgotten we were going to cover this story. And what I mean by that is I wish I could have forgotten it. It has been everywhere. And thankfully, there has been enough coverage of it now where we're not seeing the uncensored footage of it because what? Why?
Why go to the White House? Why take your shirt off? Then there was clearly a biological woman who had a double mastectomy and believes they're a man that was at this event as well. And gosh, and to be posing with the president and to be doing all these things. Now, I will say, so something important from this article that I do want to cover is at the Pride celebration, Biden spoke of the need to affirm trans kids, saying that the laws protecting children are dangerous, and that as a result, families across the country are facing excruciating decisions to relocate to protect their children from dangerous anti-LGBTQ plus laws. I think it's more dangerous to, I guess, castrate your child. That's what I would say. It's a little more dangerous to castrate your child than it is to have these anti-kid laws. What do you mean? It's literally so that they don't do something that's irreversible.
Wait. Let's take a moment and read this again. Saying that the laws protecting children.
Okay, yes, and of course this was written by the post-millennial, which is more right-wing. So they're saying that the laws protecting kids, as we see it, they're saying that they're dangerous. But they're protecting kids. Protect children. It is down to that basic line. And it's not a hard concept to understand. You have some transgender person with their fake tits out flopping them around outside the White House.
Again, proof.
Ain't nobody want to see that.
Proof, Olivia. Proof. Positive, Olivia, is what I said in our earlier segment. The male brain exists and the female brain does exist.
No woman would do that, though. No woman would walk around the White House unless she's mentally ill and do that. Guys think it's hilarious. Women do not.
There's the old joke. If you woke up, Derek, tomorrow, a woman, what's the first thing you do? I'd go stare in the mirror and play with my tits.
Yeah. And it's like, the fact that this is more of a fetish thing, it's just, blah. So I want to also reiterate that we have it from the Daily Beast. I forgot to put the link in, so I'm just going to tell you guys about it. We have it from the Daily Beast that the White House has said that Montoya will not be invited to any other White House events following this incident, which is great, but it's too little too late. You invited them there in the first place, had them take a picture with the president. They invited so many people that were trans, and it's funny because none of them were like right-wing ones. It was all, and then we saw those pictures of the inclusivity flag and the foyer of the White House or whatever, looking over this event. Where's the American flag? Where is it? Where did you put it? Where'd it go? Where is it? Bring it back. Burn the other one.
It's to the side. You can still see it. It's against flag code altogether. It's against flag code altogether. But hey, if the White House does it, it's perfectly fine, right? Oh wait, no, it's not fine.
Exactly. And I mean, we're trying, like the right specifically is trying to tell people that there's people within this community that are doing these things. They're being explicitly sexual. They're posting pictures of it. They're doing these things, and they're like, no, they're not. Someone went to the freaking White House, was able to have their top off long enough to get that photo. Where's Secret Service? Where is security? Where are people who should be tackling this man to the ground? I don't understand.
So I read it in one of the articles, leading up to this, because, this has been going on since, Sunday?
Yeah, it was Saturday or Sunday the event happened, yeah.
And I was reading in the articles that if you actually went to this person's Instagram and Twitter, it was clear that this was the kind of behavior that they would exhibit if invited to the White House.
And then you invite them because they don't know how to do their jobs and they don't know how to do good checks on people. And so if I wanted to go visit the White House, which I wanted to go visit when I was in DC about a month and a half ago, I got rejected even though my security clearance was normal. I came back totally clean. And then they were like, well, no, I'm assuming they looked up who I am. I'm assuming that's what happened. Because I applied for this. You can apply up to 90 days before. I did it on the 89th day before I left. And I went through, and worst part is my representative for where I live is a Democrat, and I went through her office, obviously, because I'm one of her citizens, and I still got rejected. And I'm like, okay, you guys know who I am, because I'm willing to bet that if I had posted anything different on social media, I would have gotten approved, and I would have gone to the White House for a tour that day. Yeah. So I don't know how someone like that gets in there, but I don't. And they were invited.
Who was it? To interview press, White House, or singer, a couple years back. Remember this? It was someone that, there's no way Joe Biden.
What were they there for?
Basically, just interviewing.
A singer?
Cardi B or someone like that.
Oh, yeah, it was probably Cardi B or Megan Thee Stallion or one of those people.
Yeah, it was a pop culture person. This administration keeps doing this, by the way. They keep trotting out pop culture icons to say, hey, listen to our message. They were doing it during COVID. They're doing it now.
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to see next? Dylan Mulvaney at the White House?
We already did.
Oh, darn. Yeah.
We already did.
Sorry. I said the name that should not happen. I apologize, Olivia.
It's fine. I'm just gonna go scream into a pillow after we're done recording this.
Yeah, just don't pull your hair out. I don't recommend that.
You might have to. There's one option, and that's it.
Yeah, this is just amazing to me that you can do this sort of thing. There used to just be a standard for decency in this world, and you just you don't do things like this.
Right.
You know, if you say you want to be treated equally, and that's been your claim this entire time, I just want equality. I just want equality. Well, Olivia, if you would have done that at the White House, what would have happened?
I probably would have been arrested for indecent exposure.
Say it isn't so.
I think I'd call it decent exposure. No, I'm kidding. But like they would call it indecent exposure, right? That would be the crime, and it's a crime. It's a crime. It's a crime.
There's people arguing in the wake of this story that it's okay in DC to be topless for women.
It's not. It's not okay anywhere. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Keep your freaking clothes on. It's not that hard.
I agree. I mean, I don't be walking around in my birthday suit. Nobody wants to see that.
No one wants to see, no one needs to see your fake tits. Before I have a mental breakdown, we're gonna wrap up for today. Because I think I'm on the brink here, kids. So thank you so much for tuning into this episode today, episode 5, of course, of Do You Really Mean That? We appreciate your support so much. Don't forget to follow us on the Patreon for exclusive content. There's some really funny stuff that we like to put up there, as well as blooper reels from all of our shows. You can follow me on social media, on Twitter and Instagram at Olivia Claire, with Olivia with 3 A's, Claire with 2 E's. You can follow Derek at The Real Derek Benson on Twitter. Chris is from the Stone Age, older than dirt, doesn't have any Twitter yet. But if you're going to interact with him or any of us and you want to do it all at the same time, go ahead and hit up our Twitter at DYRMT Podcast to stay updated instead. Of course, hit that notification bell, and we appreciate you guys so, so much, and we will see you Sunday for a live show.
Thank you, everyone, and until Sunday, have a good time.